So we see that, we have informed everyone that in the last, on August 31st, we got an order from Indian Air Force for about 155 crores for supply of counter unmanned systems, counter drone systems. And this is actually a very big deal in many ways, because, we started investing in this technology almost 2.5 years back, when this was not really in fashion, but we, our team backed that, I think in future, the drones will become a threat, and we would be, there'll be a lot of demand for counter drone technology. And I know, in fact, we were preparing for 2023 as 23 would be the year. 2023 would be the year where things would happen. But the kind of Jammu attack happened. Before that, the Armenia-Azerbaijan attack war happened. And I have talked about this Armenia-Azerbaijan war. This is the war where conventional war equipment became as outdated as swords in front of guns. So there was a huge difference. And people who had drones, in Azerbaijan war, they used drones to such devastating effect that they just literally walked into the country and they Armenia signed a deal conceding defeat. So how did this happen? Because they were having swords, and Azerbaijan was fighting with guns. So what does it mean? Is that there is a huge shift in the scenario. People, a lot of countries all over the world still are having swords with them. They're fighting the old war, but the new war is coming. And that's why Indian government has acted very, very fast. They saw the threat and they started buying it. We are very fortunate that they bought it from an Indian company and completely indigenously developed technology. Very little component is imported in this, and we were able to get it. So I want to, go a little more heavy on this. So what we have seen is that when we are talking to our foreign customers and everything, and we have a 28-year-old company, we have never seen such frictionless reception. I say frictionless in the sense, the moment we say anti-drone, they chase us rather than we going after them and educating. Earlier, we used to educate them why training is important. But now they're running after us and they're saying, listen, we really want counter-drone technology. Now, why are these inquiries have become, and these inquiries have become more pronounced now? Because one of the questions that we usually get stumped at was, they would ask, have the Indian Armed Forces purchased these the counter drone system from you? We could not say yes to that before August 31st, but now we are saying yes, they have purchased it, and they know that one of the toughest customers in the world, very, very difficult to convince, is the Indian Armed Forces. And with this, we actually are into the picture, and we think that a lot of foreign countries will be coming after this technology. So that's the big thing that we feel is a big change. And then we think there will be a lot of orders that will be coming for counter drone system. We are not able. One of the questions that is, how much will this order be? We are not able to even fathom how big these orders will be. They will be very big. And as we are approaching, what is happening in the coming months. So there, the counter drone technology consists of two varieties of counter drone system. One is a soft kill, in which you don't actually shoot down the thing, but disable with electronics the drone that is coming. And then the other is the hard kill, in which you actually shoot it down or use a laser or some guns or something like that. So we were focused on soft kill option till now. But as we are speaking, Zen is ready even with hard kill options. They are not trying to go with fancy things like laser and all that, but we are actually integrating the conventional weapons, which are already there with the forces, into our counter drone system to shoot down the drones. And that we think is huge, because other people will be offering newer weapons, but we are offering a subsystem that will fit into their existing. It's almost like, putting a gun into the sword kind of thing. So it's difficult to visualize, but that's what we are doing. And then, our marketing and sales export team is very focused on anti-drone systems. And again, we think we are also looking at other markets, non-military markets like oil refineries and other strategic asset protection. The usage for this is, from simple prison cells, where people are getting drones to drop knives and cell phones into the prisons. And, even one prisoner dies, there's a huge hue and cry. So even the prisoners, we are being approached by prisons to, how do we have a counter drones strategy in place, all the way to oil refineries, and where, we have seen Saudi Aramco being attacked by some terrorists. So those kind of things are expected to happen more. So in addition, while this is happening in a strange twist, even our export orders for our simulators have started picking up. We got in July, we got about 120 crores worth of order. And we have said that even this order also will be executed in the next 4 quarters without, it will be done by the first quarter of the next financial year. That is the latest. It could happen earlier than that. So this is going to be a big year for us. But again, in addition to the old efforts of simulators are paying off. And, as we go ahead, I think in the next couple of weeks, or maybe at most couple of months, we will be hearing smaller orders coming, our order book positioning improving. So that's that we feel a little positive about that. Again, our foreign offices are really, really doing well. The UAE office, we are getting a lot of inquiries. A lot of customers are watching remotely the demonstration. We have set up this remote demonstration facility due to COVID, where people could see it remotely sitting in their conference room. And there's huge, we used to, I tell somewhere else that we used to have 2 per month. Now it's come to about 4 per week. So that's the amount of thing. Again, we said we are expecting orders of 60 crores in the coming months. This may be sooner than later. US office also may be getting orders. And we think that our subsidiary UTS, I have written 15 crores in FY22. I think it's going to be much, much larger than that. This was the AGM figure, but now we think they'll get into a very, very big figure. And so it's also, so UTS also, in addition to counter-drone, anti-drone system that they have specifically been helping us with, they also have some other products and technologies that they are focused on. And I think that's another story that will develop as we go ahead. Again, medical technology, we are focusing on a couple of simulators. That is something that may happen by this year, and we may be able to show something in that regard. But that's a new market. I think the gestation period is going to be a little longer than expected. We talked about ESOPs to the customer. So, we always feel that, even though we claim the credit as the promoters of the company, it is Zenith who have made it possible, and we really want to reward them. So we will be starting offering ESOPs, which was recently passed in the AGM. Again, the current order book position is this, that the domestic orders are around 278 crores and exports are about 124 crores. So 400 crores of pending orders. And in this, the equipment cost of 284 crores, we expect that these will be executed by the first quarter of the next year. That's our expectation. And so it's going to be a big year for us. And we do think that by that time, the order book position will be much, much larger than what we have today. So these two things show that we are very, very optimistic about the coming future. So this is the snapshot of what we are doing. So another thing, I just want to highlight here is that we also started getting into drones. So we will be, as we go ahead, we will be showcasing the drones that we have developed. In fact, one of the toughest terrains in Leh, our drones work very well. We qualified in those drones. So we expect that these drones have market not only in India, in Indian military, but even across wherever there are difficult terrains. So we will be getting into drones in a big way, and I think there will be some positive announcement in the months to come on our efforts in drones and how they are paying off. How we are getting more orders in the drone segment other than counter drones. So this is I just want to say that this government has been very, very extraordinarily helpful to us for our exports, for the various policies that they are doing, and the orders that they placed. Even this order was this was one of the fastest orders we ever saw. The government saw that there is a threat, and they identified. In fact, in this particular order that we got, there were a lot of foreign companies that tied up with Indian companies, and they came and demonstrated their wares. But against all odds, we were able to win this thing. Abhishek, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Aturi.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought
Yes,
yeah. So, again, we just want to say that the whole play that we have in the Zen, people who have understood. I mean, we have shareholders who have been here for almost 2 decades with us, and they understand one thing, that the Zen is an IP play. The intellectual property that they have is massive, and they can at any point in time, we really don't know when it actually fructifies and becomes into huge orders, and that's playing out at this point in time. All these 110 patents that we have filed over the past 28 years are actually playing out. So we have this huge R&D investment that we have done. There are a lot of products that are yet to be commercialized and to be offered to the customers. So all those things are also coming into play in the because of our R&D efforts. Again, I just want to talk about annual maintenance contracts. We think annual maintenance contracts will reach a critical point. It will achieve a critical mass in the next 1 or 2 months, and we will be having enough annual maintenance contracts to sustain us through the toughest of the periods. We do not have to depend on equipment sales for that. So I think that will increase our risk appetite for more R&D. But that's the situation that's going to emerge in a month or so, for which we are very, very, we feel very happy about that. We don't have to worry about bad times or COVID times if and when they happen. Again, we think Indian Army training establishment is huge. Global addressable market is huge. And this, even though the focus here again is, suddenly turns to our training, but again, I want to say that we think counter drone system is a huge bet that Zen has made, and it is paying off. We think there are abundant global opportunities in this. And one thing we know is the customers, when they buy from us, there is a huge difference versus when they buy from any other other foreign companies. Typically, we have seen the other foreign companies buy it, they sell it and forget it. That's it. They're sold, and if somebody wants some maintenance or some support or some evaluation, they charge hell lot of more money. And we know our track record has been that we try to support the governments for the long term, and we have seen that this particular product, the counter drone system, is an evolving product. It is not a finished product for a simple reason: the threats that it will have to handle are still evolving. And as the evolving threat scenario, because of the evolving threat scenario, every buyer will seek a person who's going to handle them through the whole process. So that is what we expect to happen. That because of this handholding which is required, they would rather go with a company that has a track record of handholding the customers through difficult times on long-term basis through the life cycle of the product, rather than who are just hit and run operations. So again, fulfillment capacity we have. We have a asset-light model. We get orders, we can execute it without any extraordinary addition of plant and machinery. We have a huge land there. We can add space, because the most important that we think that we do there is integration. Once we develop a prototype, we outsource to the supply chain, and supply chain does the manufacturing. We do very little manufacturing except final integration and software testing at our site. So that's the thing. I like to give the favorite example of the Chinese bamboo tree, and unfortunately it is Chinese, but it should be Indian perhaps. So that doesn't grow for 4 years, and all the 4 years its roots are going inside, and it's becoming stronger and stronger. And only in the 5th year it grows by almost 80 feet. So maybe it's a Zen story being done there. So with this, I'll conclude my brief presentation, but I'm completely open for the questions and answers, which I think will be more interesting.
Any participant who wishes to ask question, may please raise your hand. We take the first participant, Swechha. Swechha, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity, and hope you're doing well. It's great to reconnect. So I have few questions. So first, there were a few questions regarding the order book. Like you said, 284 crores of equipment side the order book that we have, that would be typically executed by Q1 of next year, right, sir?
Yeah.
So I want to understand, sir, in this current order book that you have, especially from the Indian Air Force, so is it more, is the entire order for the anti-drone kind of equipment?
Yeah,
and how much? Okay. And how much from this equipment side, is there a potential of, some amount of order turning into an AMC, like post the delivery of these anti-drone systems, sir?
Yeah, so we are not able to confirm on that, but they have IAS has the option of, asking us to do the AMC. So, but we are not very sure at this point in time what model they would like to follow.
Okay.
But
Sir, and the 125 crore of. Okay. And so for the equipment side, on the export side, the order book was of 125 crore. So what does it basically comprise of? If you could just give a breakup.
Yeah, it is all simulators. It's all simulators.
Okay.
Or simulators and training equipment, yeah.
Okay. And I think, sir, in one of the previous call, we were also looking at logistics drone side, on the logistics front.
Yeah.
So how is that shaping up? Do you have any firm orders there?
Our drones are working very robustly. They were doing very well. And we had a very, very tough qualification. We went through the qualification and we qualified. Unfortunately, we didn't win because of the price. So, but I think we have got an idea, how to bid next time. And that, I think, is going to be a place where we will be able to generate huge revenue, not only in India, but even abroad. So I think we were, problem with the startups is they really believe that they should never make profits. So when you compete against startups, it's difficult to win even in conventional business. So, but we will resolve that issue. I think we are so cost competitive that very few companies will be able to, beat us on cost basis. Yeah.
So what kind of, potential can this segment has for us, sir? So any number you would like to quote?
Very difficult. I would be wrong, I think, mostly by understating it. But you can imagine it's going to be huge. We expect the revenues to be huge. The market to be very huge. I think it's, everything is turning to, even medical delivery. I don't know whether you saw that or not.
Yes.
Medical things are happening. But I think the biggest challenges are, heavy equipment being moved, 20, 30, 50 kilos and above being moved. And that's what we are focusing on at this point in time.
Right. And also, I think in an earlier, call, somewhere you had mentioned that we have an, export target of 35,000 crore. I hope I have got the number right, by FY25. So how do you think we are placed for that? And what would be key 2-3 things that would lead us, to this target of 35,000 crore of exports by FY25?
So that's not Zen's target. That is Prime Minister Modi's target. First of all, let me clarify that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how much do you think we can, get from this? Like, what kind of potential do you see for us?
I think, this is at very early, but, the kind of response we are getting from the export countries is huge. I mean, it's running into, at least few hundreds of crores. The inquiries that we are getting, and how much will translate into the orders, how will it happen is something we still don't know. But I think this is just the trickle that has started. And we think that it's going to become a huge flood in some time.
Okay. And so I have a few more questions. Can I ask them now, or should I rejoin the queue?
I don't know. Yeah.
You may continue, please.
Okay. So also, earlier, I think somewhere in Feb, we kind of had a 500 crores of order in discussion, both on the domestic side and 400 crores on the export side. So I want to understand the current order book of 400 crores. Does it comprise of those orders which were in discussion, which have transmitted into the confirmed order book of 400 crores, or this is separate and we are still in discussion of those numbers, sir?
I think these figures are very fluid, in the sense that as of now, we are actually talking again about, still the 400 crore figure is there. Even though we got the 120 crore order, still the 400 crore order is there. We are still talking to some people. But again, we really don't know how much of the 400 crore will actually translate into orders. We do hope that, about 60 to 70% should translate, but we are not very sure about that. But, the one thing good about it, you will be seeing that the smaller orders will be trickling in as we speak. And yeah, in the export also, 500 crores of domestic orders are still intact. So they are being, discussed, and, we think the files are moving in the right direction. So these things are there, still they are intact. In fact, I would say they're a little higher at this point in time, much higher than that.
Okay. So, and also, historically, we have seen that, there have been certain years where our profits and operating profits have consistently grown for 2-3 years. And then there is a phase where we have seen a sudden dip in our profits, every few years. So just wanted to understand, this is typically due to the industry that we operate in, or do you think this trend is going to, can change in the future where, consistently we will be making profits both operationally and at a PAT level? And typically, what kind of EBITDA margins, on a steady state basis can we expect both on the equipment side and the AMC side?
What I would say to, that you have to ask too many questions, but, I think PAT, we want to maintain at, at least 30%. That's what we would like to do, because, EBITDA is something I really don't get in, because what comes in my hand is the PAT. That's the only money you can distribute to me, myself, and shareholders.
Right.
What was the other first question you asked? I usually note it down, but I got lost.
Yeah. So this was it. Like historically, what I have seen is So that fluctuation is because of the industry.
No, so yeah, it is because of the industry. But what we think is that we have got into so many segments at this point in time. To your question, listen, you're going to the 270 crore. What about the future? Is the future looking brighter? Will we make more turnover? Will we increase, or on an? So my answer to that is, on an average, we should be increasing.
Okay.
So we think that, and again, one point I said was that earlier we were in a product that you need to. There were a lot of selling to do, but with these drones and counter drones, it is almost like it is effortless, and they come after us and they are chasing us and they are saying that we want to buy it. And there are many players in this segment, so we think that we are placed very well for good growth from here.
Right. So I just have 2 more questions. So on the Combat Training Center, I just wanted to understand, what typically is the revenue model there? How does that typically work, and what kind of margins or can we look at for this?
So the Combat Training Center is actually a concept where we integrate all the simulators and the training methodology, and they start from beginners to all the way to experienced seasoned veterans also. It is a training ground for that. So what is happening at this point in time, that a lot of people who have purchased the simulators, they are asking us to integrate the simulators and create a combat training center. So that is what is happening. And we think that, so it is just a sale of equipment and integration of equipment. That's what combat training center is.
Okay. Yeah. So what I understand is we create the training center for a particular customer, right?
Yeah.
Whether CapEx is done by the customer or by us, sir?
By customer.
Okay. Understood. And then
it is not a lease model, but that's something that we have offered to some customers, but the customers, still that sense of ownership that the army is ours, we should do the training kind of thing is there.
Right.
While the advanced countries have started outsourcing, the other countries are still to get to that level. Yeah.
Okay. And then probably we charge a commission or something for that training, right? Like a fee.
We ask for 2 things. Our model is we ask for a minimum, lease, minimum rent, how many minimum number of people will be trained, and how much will be. Anything above that, there is the additional icing on the cake.
Okay. And so just one last technical question. I just wanted to understand, what is the difference between anti-drone systems and anti-drone simulators,
So anti-drone simulators are used because these anti-drone systems are pretty expensive. Our counter-drone system, they're very, very expensive. They could start from about 5 crores and go up to 30, 40, maybe 100 crores. Now, if you want to train your soldiers, would you use that equipment to train them? So you would like them to be trained on something called a simulator. So anti-drone simulator is that is used to train personnel before they operate the actual end drones. That is what
Understood. And so just one last question. How is the Abu Dhabi subsidiary, looking right now? Because I think...
We are very impressed with the kind of thing they're doing. So I think we should be hearing some good news. What I'm saying about exports is maybe from there only. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And congratulations for doing such phenomenal work, sir. Thank you. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Pankaj Kumbar. Pankaj, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Mr. Ashok. This is Pankaj Kumbar from Dubai. So thank you very much for the presentation. It's quite impressive. I just want to understand something on this IFA order, what we received, 155 CR. So is it going to be fully executed in the current financial year? And the second question is, what kind of margin we are talking here, basically?
So, number one, your execution is, this is within 12 months we have to execute. So yes, by next August, it should be done. That's the deadline we have. And with respect to the margin, we try to maintain a 30% PAT, as I said. So we will see that, we somehow will assure that we get the 30% PAT.
Okay. And the last question, the second question is that on this maintenance contract, do you have any maintenance contract for this order or subsequently?
So the thing is this: there is a warranty period. Post warranty, the customer has the option of taking the AMC. So that will depend on whether they want to take the AMC or not.
Okay. So far they have not confirmed.
They have not confirmed. Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just a second. We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Sudhir Mahajan. Mr. Sudhir Mahajan, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead. Mr. Sudhir, please unmute yourself.
Hello. Congratulations, Mr. Atluri.
Sudhir, go ahead. I can hear you.
Yeah. Congratulations. And I think, we have achieved what we were planning for a long time. I've got a couple of questions on this. One is, all your drones and these anti-drones must be powered by some battery, right? Some power backup.
Yeah.
What will be the kind of battery and the companies which are providing this kind of batteries?
No, we are sourcing them from India only, the batteries. So it is available in India. So no, I really don't know the technical answer. Maybe Dr. Nagendra can give this answer.
The batteries right now being sourced, of course, some raw material by these manufacturers is being sourced from outside, but as a unit, there is a commodity for this heavy lift category of the drones, they're being made in India.
Basically we can get them in India. It's not a challenge. The batteries are sourced from India.
No, I know. In Hyderabad, you got one of the best companies, HBL Power, which makes a lot of batteries for defense. Would you be using their kind of batteries? Or?
Yes, I mean, we are open. I mean, we have been talking to everyone and, whichever. So there is a stage, now at this stage, we are just doing the, prototyping and showing it to the customers. In the manufacturing phase, we will be negotiating with these guys and buying more number of batteries for them.
So if you're just negotiating right now, so that means this quarter, there's not going to be much sales.
No, drones, we are not selling anything. We haven't got any order as of now.
Anti-drone, I'm talking the anti-drone.
The counter drone is going on. We got a large order, 155 crores. That is to be executed in the next 12 months. So counter drone batteries.
Counter drone doesn't have the batteries like the way that you have, for drones.
So you're talking only soft skills right now.
Yeah, that is right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Lakshay Garg. Mr. Lakshay, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, I am audible. Hi, am audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is regarding heavy lift logistics drone. So do you manufacture these in-house, and currently do you have any IPs or development in autonomous navigation for these drones?
No, so there is some software and hardware, but we haven't patented them or something like that. IP is there definitely, but it is not yet patented.
So regarding the question about development of autonomous navigation, so
Yeah.
like for example, obstacle avoidance and all that stuff, do you have these things in development for these drones, or all
No,
these
they have been,
revolve?
yeah, the obstacle avoidance algorithms have already been incorporated in the system. So they do avoid obstacles while traversing.
And so in this space, do you have any competition? For example, I think I know of only
Yes, the competition
10
is there.
companies.
You know, unlike the counter drone space has some players. There are a few players in drone space. So we do have competition in the drone space. But again, you know, out of so many claims being made, only two companies qualified in the for this heavy drone lifting. And we, as far as we know, no one performed even close to what we did in Leh and Ladakh. So I think we are doing fantastically well in this space.
Okay, so do you have any interest from, say, online delivery businesses, or in general other sort of businesses which require
So
some kind of...
we are not focusing on that, but let us see how it turns out. As of now, we are not. We are focusing on military logistic drone applications only. But let us see. There is some expression of interest from port authorities who want for ships that are anchored in the middle of the sea. How do we deliver? Those kind of things are going on, but we are not sure how it will pan out.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
We take the next question from the line of Mr. Manish Bhandari. Mr. Manish, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, good evening, Ashok. My question is regarding the anti-drone technology, anti-drone product what you have sold. So would there be a different technology offered by the different competitors, and maybe going forward, Indian Air Force would be saddled with different kind of technology, or they will try to hone in on one kind of technology?
We think that if the Indian companies give good reliable technology, which I think they have, including Zen and even Bharat Electronics, the other winner of a little with the hard kill option, I think they would like to stabilize on this. But finally, it's a very, very strategic call. They will have to take a call. But I think we are going to ensure that they're fully satisfied, fully delighted with our product, and they just expand their requirements more and more and buy more of our product.
And how would you compete, or maybe what kind of import elements you would have in your technology?
We have very little, like the detector, jammer, everything is built. Again, we have been working for 3 years, 2.5, 3 years on this technology. So we have deep capabilities, and not only deep capabilities, we can really modify and adapt to the customer needs. When we competed with, by the way, there were 6 foreign competitors in this, 5 or 6 competitors that had tied up with foreign companies and that had come. But they were double our price, but maybe as much as technically as good as us. So we are competing with the foreign guys on equal terms. Only thing is we are 50% of their price, and that gives us an idea that we should probably go after other markets also, where the countries that want to protect their borders or even strategic assets would like to buy from a reliable partner, a very robust technology, and a person who would give them life cycle support. Just not do a surgical strike, sell them, and then leave them, saddled with some inoperable equipment.
So did we had any preference with the new defense procurement policy in this contract?
Yes, absolutely. We are a beneficiary of that. Yeah.
So that eliminates your competition, all the 6 foreign competitors in the process?
No. Unfortunately, there are 2 categories. One is called the Buy Indian IDDM, indigenously designed, developed, and manufactured. Had they gone for that, actually, that is the most preferred category. Had they gone for that, then it would have eliminated all the competition. But they didn't go for the most preferred competition for a reason. They were not sure whether Indian companies have the full technology or not. So they went for Buy Indian. In Buy Indian, you can collaborate with a foreign company and come and compete with us, with the Indian IDDM company. and whoever is the least price, they get the contract. So it was there were Indian players who collaborated with foreign companies. So the process did not eliminate. It was more the competence that eliminated the competition.
So are you suggesting that if after this order, if a new 1,000 crore order has to come, there is a possibility that this will come in IDDM and you may land up with the 1 or 2 competitors only? Is that the whole, it could happen?
Yeah. So, but yeah, now that it is established that there is the IDDM product, so legally, all the armed forces will be forced to go for IDDMs. That is the whole point. It's a filtering process. Only if IDDM is not there, you go to buy Indian. Only if buy Indian is not there, you go to buy global. So that is the filtering process. You are absolutely right. You just hit the nail on the head.
So, sir, the most important part for me will be to know that how many domestic competitors do you see in this technology?
We see zero. Zero in the sense, except Bell. Bharat Electronics, they have the technology with them. And but we don't see anybody. Guys, listen. To invest in R&D on a consistent basis year after year, not sure that you will get the reward, is a game that Indian defense industry has not played much, to my knowledge. I don't know of any player, very few players play that game. And Zen is a master of the game. And we have invested hundreds of crores in building simulators. Now we decided to go after this market. And I don't think you invested 3 years and some 20-30 crores to build a technology which you are not sure whether you will realize funds or not. So I think maybe there may be some competition, but as of now, I don't see any player who's investing this kind of money, resources, and commitment towards counter-drone technology, anti-drone technology.
So Ashok, how much will be the price difference between you and the other L1s, which would cut off the whole?
It could start with, it could be as low as 15-20% kind of thing. But we saw the foreign buyers were almost double our price, the foreign collaborators.
So is it fair to assume so that for next foreseeable future, as the base expands, you will be 30% cheaper than anyone close to XBL? Am I right? 30 to 40% cheaper.
Easily.
And this business will always be a tender business. So the one with the approved technology and the lowest cost will keep on winning it.
I think what will happen is the one thing is we will be cheaper. We'll be 30% cheaper. I'm sure that we'll be 30% cheaper, maybe more or maybe less. In the worst case situation. But the point is, you don't want to go to buy a counter-drone technology from a person whose technology is not proven. They have tested us, seen us, and it will be deployed in the field. It will be working. And now you want to go. Somebody comes and says, "Listen, I have the technology. Would you want to go with them?" So the track record will be developed, and we will be having this will create a kind of a mass where people will say, "Listen, they have a proven technology. It has gone through seasons, so we would want to go with them." So I think this track record plus price advantage will be absolutely unbeatable. I think that's what you are driving at, and I agree with you.
My another question would be that if I have to see, and if I did follow that Armenian war very closely, and I also heard about this, the mishaps which has happened on the border. To secure the border with the anti-drone technology, I think maybe a 50,000 crore rupees investment would be less if I have to imagine, or I have to stretch my imagination. So I wanted to know from your perspective, since you work with defense forces, that how big will be the purchases going forward? And their plans good enough. So how big is this opportunity?
Yeah, so we do know the plan, but we just want to say that I don't want to delve much deeper into that. But I want to say that the figure that you stated is very, very understated. It's going to be much bigger than that.
Only on the anti-drone or the counter-drone?
Absolutely.
And do they have the time frame also to make this?
So, yeah, happen? It may really, depending on the situation, evolving situation, it may happen much earlier than we think. But again, you never know how long it will take. But I think it may happen sooner than later.
So would you need to invest in the manufacturing processes also, or maybe there is a part of outsourcing and it can happen? If
we really scale to that level, maybe we will have to, again, manufacturing process, we have a lot of huge capacities in Hyderabad, unused empty capacities. We will be going and guiding them. That is what my intention is, that, we just go coach them how to do it, give the prototypes and get it done there, rather than ourselves build the thing. Maybe what we do currently is we do the final integration at our place. Yes, we do that. But most of the thing outside is about 85% of the work is outsourced. We would prefer that. And but if the kind of orders we think in our little wilder imagination come, we will have to, what kind of integration facility, what kind of testing facilities will be required to even accept those products from the supply chain would have to be re-estimated.
My last question is, there is a PLI scheme for drone. So
Yeah.
would you be interested in taking up that scheme?
We are discussing it with the team at this point in time about that.
Thank you, Ashok. Thank you, team.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Ashit Kothi. So you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. My question is with regards to, as you are going to be taking a call on integrating the components yourself instead of outsourcing it, to what extent you would go in for manufacturing those components in-house?
So, we don't manufacture at the component level. It's like simulators, when we say it is completely homegrown, we don't say that, the motherboards are made at home or anything like that. What we are saying is motherboard is the Intel motherboard, the operating system is Microsoft operating system. The application on the Microsoft operating system is my IP that I generate. So similarly, we are not doing it at a component level. We are sourcing the best components, getting them into a new combination and creating boards that serve our purpose and write software over them so that they can communicate with the sensors that are operating to be used as counter-drone technology. So that the software layer is completely being developed in-house.
So
and of course, and even the
is,
hardware is being manufactured, but from existing component. We don't do any components,
so
but
the value
at the chip
component
level,
of
we
your,
don't.
say the software value component would be how much?
Sorry.
In simulators.
The software.
You said that
it would be about 80%.
What you are putting is your software.
Yeah, that's right.
So that software value, if you have to put in the value to the software, how much that would come
so
to?
We would say it is about
value.
Between 70 to 80% would be software. So how we arrive at that is, we just remove the bill of material cost and we arrive at the software cost.
Okay. And what is the reason for not going in for patent till now?
Sorry, come again.
The patent, we haven't gone in for patents, right?
No. So we, what we are trying to do is that we are not gone in for patent only in the drone segment, in the logistic drone segment. In all the counter drone simulators, we have more than 110 patents that we have filed. But in the drone, we are trying to do very intelligent navigation, some kind of intelligence we are trying to build in before filing the patent. So, but the work is going on at that point in time. At this point in time.
Because that would add a reasonable amount of value to your work.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the point that we want to file IP for each and everything that we want to introduce to market. But it is for some products we are not.
Can you quantify what kind of?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Come again.
1 year. This current.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear. Can Abhishek, can you hear it?
The current order, are you? Is it going to be executed in a 1 year time?
That's right. Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
So what after that?
Let us hope that we have more orders to execute by the time. We think we will have. We think that we will have a more order book position at that point in time.
Okay, and this 255 crores, how many drone systems are we going to be providing?
Yeah, we will not discuss the quantity as such. We just know that we got the order from Indian Air Force. We don't want to discuss the quantity, etc.
No, the reason for asking this is to understand that what kind of further this anti-drone, because this what you have ordered, this is the order is from Air Force, right, sir?
Yeah.
So there is a possibility of you receiving the orders even from the military, I mean, say, the ground forces.
Yes, absolutely.
As well as maybe Navy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So are those tenders already open and we have done bidding for that, or still those are not yet open for tender?
Their requirement is not yet addressed. For this particular, soft kill option is not yet addressed. So let us hope for the best.
And all in all, how much of tendering we have gone in for? I mean, say in value terms, what kind of quantum we have done bidding for?
Sorry, come again, boss. How many tenders have you bid for? You're saying?
Yes, I mean, say in value terms, in total number of tenders and total value of those tenders.
No, as of now, there are no pending tenders. All the tenders have been closed.
The final outcome of the same.
Yeah, all the tenders have been closed now. We got one tender. And so there are no pending tenders. There are no pending tenders. There are no open tenders as of now, to our knowledge. So there is try to understand. There is a requirement. There was an emergency requirement which they purchased from the Indian players like Bell and Zen. There is future requirement. There are no tenders open as of now, but they will come up eventually, and Zen will be participating in that. I hope I have ordered your question.
Mr. Ashit, if you wish to ask any further questions, I would request you to please join back in the queue. We'll take the next question from the line of Krishna Giri. Krishna, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Sir, what is the return on equity you are targeting for your shareholders?
Again, you will have to calculate return on equity. Our thing is that we should keep growing. We should maintain a 30% PAT. That is what we are having, and I think it should be a very reasonable return on equity. Somebody came and said, out of the world, Ashok, do you know how much return Zen has given? I said, I don't know how much. Then he said, Ashok, it has given 21,400% return in the last 15, 16 years. So that is, more than about 1,500% per annum. So, I don't know how they calculate it. But the fact is that, yes, we will keep growing, and we will aim for a PAT margin of at least 30%.
And sir, there is a continuously circuit for your stock. So you have to say something on that?
And nothing to say, boss. Zero. I really don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, and I don't have anything to say.
Okay, sir.
If further your size will increase in terms of getting orders and all that, so you will definitely face the competition with the global market and all. So are you working towards that to match up with the building up your capability and the standards to meet that competition? Not today, maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line when you reach.
No, we are ahead of the competition now, and we are planning to be always ahead of the competition. And in 2 years' time, their competition will not even. They will all aspire for second position. We will be absolutely there, and our intention is to dominate the market, and we hope to dominate the market. And why? How do we want to dominate the market? Is we're investing so much in this process, and so many projects are on at this point in time. We think that we will be in absolutely a good position versus the competition.
So, are you keeping certain percentage for the R&D and all those things to?
Yeah, we are addicted to R&D. Actually, all of our some of our investors don't like us because we spend so much on R&D.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Shubhabrata Mitra. Mr. Mitra, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I have two questions. One is that, Bale has got this both hard kill and soft kill, and whereas we have got the soft kill. So are we going for the hard kill kind of products and soft kill products going forward?
Soft kill we have. We are working on the hard kill now. We are actually really working on good hard kill options.
Okay, and the second question is that on this anti-drone, order that we have got, what I understand is that the gross margin is around 45-50%.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, again, I said, I'm not talking about the gross margin, but PAT should be around 30% at least is my aim. Then we may be able to achieve that.
Okay, why I'm asking this question because since simulators we have a much higher gross margin, and through that we get a PAT margin of 30%. So even with a lower gross margin, we'll be able to get
we will try to maintain that. I think because the break-even point is already achieved, the PAT will be easily achieved at 30%, even if the gross margins are much lower than that.
Okay, and sir, going forward, what can the anti-drone system or drone anti-drone and simulator ratio in terms of revenue or the product mix? Like we orders also. So going to book can be, any guidance be given?
Maybe I think it could be 50-50, or maybe the counter drone may really go up. I'm not very sure, but 50-50 is easily foreseeable.
Okay. Sir, apart from Bell and Zen, I think one of, going forward, if it comes into IDDM, any other Indian company, which you can think can be a serious competitor?
No, I'm not able to. I don't know personally. I think there may be some companies that are working to get into this, but I'm not really aware of any Indian company that is developing these detectors, jammers, investing their own money. They may be importing and reselling, but that is different. I don't know that any company having the commitment and the courage to invest this kind of money.
Right. And so going forward, I'm just trying to reiterate trying to understand the growth driver of Zen would be on drone and anti-drone and export of exports, right? I mean, how do you see the growth drivers?
So counter drone systems is a growth area. Exports is going to be a big growth area for both simulators and counter drone systems and drones. Of course, because we are selling so much, the annual maintenance contract will be kicking in, which will be giving us sustainable revenues, which will make us profitable by themselves. I mean, they're a sure backrest for us.
And are we banking more on exports than domestic? In anything of that sort?
We are expecting more orders from exports. There's no doubt about that. We are expecting more from exports, but domestic is also becoming very vibrant. The way things are going now, they're really placing a lot of orders, and we can actually feel a lot of action in the armed forces that they want to buy more stuff from companies like Zen.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Vivek Gupta. Mr. Gupta, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Ashok, there was a newspaper article sometime back that a couple of startups, I think one in Bangalore and one, I think, in Delhi, had also won orders. So just wanted to know, are they your competitors, or do they operate in completely different spaces?
So could you just name the companies, or what was the order they got or something like that?
I don't know. I think there was a Bangalore-based company that got an order, and I think there was a Delhi or Noida-based company. I'm not sure. Along with you, there were three other. I think two were startups, and yours was another company.
Okay, so there is a company. So there is something called as a jammer gun that was to a Bangalore company, I think, and there was a drone order that went to a Noida-based company. That is right. Yeah, but they are not into the counter drone space.
Okay, so they're not really your competitors.
No, not at all. Not by far. They're not.
Can you just tell me regarding the material and the software that is needed for the drones? Do you kind of make it yourself, or is there any quality check on that?
No, we do the quality check on
that. So is this material imported or sourced locally?
It's sourced in India. It's available now. They are available in India, most of them.
Okay. Also, just want to know, other than the military, which other aspect for the drones do you think has tremendous opportunity? Is it the agricultural space? Is it the delivery space? What is the space that you foresee could have tremendous opportunity?
I think agriculture is big. Personally, I think agriculture is going to be big because that is easiest to do. But we are really not focused on that at this point in time. We are focusing on the logistic drones.
Just one last question. You also mentioned about the heavy lifting drones.
Yeah.
Up to what capacity or what weight would you be able to lift?
So this can go easily up to 50 kilos in the sea level areas, but at very high altitudes, they could be 20-30 kilos.
Okay. Just one last question regarding the anti-drone. What is the area that the anti-drone can cover? Is it 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers?
So counter drone, depending, because they come at a cost. It's like, how fast can the motorcycle go? It depends on how much can we pay for the motorcycle. So here also completely depend on what kind. 20 kilometers is not very difficult to achieve. It can be achieved of threat neutralization. We want from just a soft determine the cost of the thing. Yeah, to your question, most of the ranges are possible. 20 kilometer range, even 40 kilometer ranges are possible.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
I would request all participants to limit their question to 2 per participant. We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Sudhir Mahajan. Mr. Sudhir, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Lori, I just wanted you to just talk a little more about that the combat training simulator which you have bid for. Is that a tender still open or is it closed? Because it closed last year sometime, the tender was. What is
there is no combat training center tender at all.
Last year there was a tender somewhere in August or September. What was that for?
No, sorry, I'm not aware of what you're talking about. There's no CTC tender till now. The solution that we are giving, already they have simulators. We are creating an integration facility and giving CTC to them. But there never been any CTC tender. But I don't know last August which tender are you talking about. I'm not able to recollect immediately.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Nagaraja. Sir, you may, I think he's not in the question queue any longer. Okay. We'll take the next question from the line of Mr. Lavnish Mohan. Mr. Mohan, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Lavnish, yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I just wanted to know what is your current sales and marketing setup for the domestic and the global market, and what kind of investments in terms of manpower you have planned specifically on the sales and marketing scenario, given the fact that the markets are now the order books are growing, and therefore I think pressing the accelerator on the sales and marketing front is going to be the key success driver going forward.
Yeah, so we have a very dedicated team for this, a very competent and dedicated team for exports. We have a high-level air vice marshal who heads the other thing, and then we have a very support team that is doing it here, and then we have a demo team that is based for virtual demo. A dedicated team. Whenever export comes, they're immediately activated and they go through all the things. We also have people who can speak Arabic based in the UAE, who actually give the demonstration in Arabic so that there is interaction. And typically, most of the people do come to Dubai or to UAE, and they're seeing the demonstration. So, but again, Lavnish, it's a fantastic point that you made. We really need to scale up our investments in the export front, specifically to aggressively address the market. That's one of the agenda and focus area for investment for them. That we will really want to, this is almost like a startup game where we really want to reach out to the most number of countries very fast and install our systems there. But of course, not over losing money in each installation like the startups do. But we need to act as aggressively and as fast as them.
Can go ahead.
System. And another question is, can you explain what are the tender stages when normally government comes out with a tender, like financial bid, technical bid, field trial, and so on? So how does it go?
So yeah, so the pipeline for ADSB, again, as I said, there are no open bids, but there are a lot of inquiries going on. There's no open tender as such, but a lot of inquiries going on and a lot of talk going on that they want to scale up the operations, and in a huge way they want to scale up. So we want to be the beneficiary of that. With respect to tender, yes, typically, tender is floated. They ask us for technical and financial bids in the conventional sense, not emergency procurement, conventional sense. They ask us to give financial and technical bids. We give it, and before opening, before then they open the technical bid and do a trial evaluation. Is the product good or not? Only those companies that qualify technically, their financial bids are opened, and whoever is the least in them, they're called L1. They get the tender awarded. So that is the process. Anything else, Manoj? Okay.
Mr. Manoj?
So we can go to the next one.
Okay. So, Mr. Atluri, I think we can now go ahead with the product demonstration. So, if you'd like to put it on the screen.
So this is the anti-drone system that we have built. So just the components are being depicted, and then the video will be played. So a drone will be flying, how the system reacts to this, and then acts on it is what's being demonstrated in this particular video. So if there are any questions on this, we can take.
Any participant who wishes to ask any question based on the video that the management just shared, may please raise their hand. We have a question from Mr. Vipin Kumar. Mr. Kumar, you may please unmute your system. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, I'm CA Vipin Gupta. My question to you is, where do you see your company down the line 10 years or say 2030?
Yeah, I'll answer that question. I mean, very frankly, we want, at this point in time, there are two segments that we absolutely want to be number one worldwide. And we will be investing a lot of money to get the technological edge that will ensure that customers come after us. One is in the training segment that has been our bread and butter for last 2.5 decades. But we think drone and counter-drone technology is the second segment. We will again, drone is a very wide thing. We'll be focusing on a niche in that, but counter-drone will be the technology that we really want to be number one in the world. So these two segments, we do expect that we are by 10 years time, we are looking for opportunities to get into a third segment, and that will happen. We are not very sure what that is going to be, but these three segments we want to be number one in all the three segments. That is the plan for 2030.
No, I would like to know about your guidance of your
financials.
Yeah, any vague idea, because it is a very huge market. Your turnover for the year, I think 1920 was 150 crore plus something, and I heard in one of the interview that there is a opportunity of manufacturing opportunity of 3 lakh crore down the line 10 years, if we say 2030. So how do you place in between those numbers? How do you place your
we think Vipinji, that it's a very far stretched out place that but I would think that it will be many times of what we are now at this point in time. But again, what I'm trying to say is I would leave that as a exercise. I would really don't want to get into the financials of it. But if we are the number one counter drone company, we are the number one simulation company, what turnover do you think would Zen be achieving? I think it's going to be a very large number. So, but I leave it to your imagination. Because I really don't want to state something which I may be, I mean, it's all it's a recorded session. So I think I'll leave it to your imagination.
And my last question is, what do you think that you should tell us as a stakeholder in this domain, which we never imagined to ask, and as per your vision and everything you have for this company, what do you would like to suggest for Zen?
We love long-term shareholders. I mean, I have a lot of shareholders who are there from day one, and they have just been so every day I have shareholders who have increased, who come in the moment it increases 20%, they leave us. But we love long-term shareholders because for them we have created a lot of wealth, and so in the short term Zen can behave a little erratically, but long term we have been very consistent performers.
And as most of the orders came from government and foreign governments, so how do you plan to finance those orders? Basically, it requires a hell lot of money. So do you plan to raise more money to go public, to go some fundraising? What is in your mind regarding that?
Yeah, so I think we have with respect to the fundraise, we are open. Again, the number of shares that we have almost been the same since in the past 2 decades. They haven't increased. We haven't issued any, even though so we issued and we bought back. Net we are probably at the time of at the same level from where we started. So so we think shares are the most expensive way of raising money. We are little reticent to do that, but at some point in time, when an opportunity to expand fast comes, we may look at that opportunity of raising funds. But as of now, we have very little debt on the books, so we can raise debt also to meet our requirements. But yes, equity raise is an option when we really want to aggressively expand.
Yeah. I foresee a very bright future for this company, and wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.
From the core of my heart, and wish you a very bright future, sir.
Thank you so much, Vipin. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Mr. Atluri, do we have a product demonstration for the simulators, or should we continue ahead with the
we have the product demonstration for the simulator, so I'll just connect to that 1 second.
Mr. Atluri, you are on mute.
I'm just connecting to the. They're sending a YouTube link. I'm just connecting to the YouTube link. Just hold on, yeah.
Sure, sir.
Can you see it, Abhishek?
Yes, sir, we can.
The link, okay, great. I'll share the link in the chat box. So I think the best thing is to directly link through the chat box onto the YouTube thing.
Oh, I didn't get you, sir.
Give me 1 second. I'm putting the link in the chat box, the YouTube link.
Okay.
So anyone can click there and they can go to the thing. Oh, it's just going to the host. Okay, sorry, 1 second. I'll just change it to everyone. Guys, have you seen it? Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
The chat box, it is there. Just click on the link and you can go to the thing and it will start now. Abhishek, are you able to log in?
Yes,
Are people able to log in?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are able to see it,
great.
sir.
Okay, great.
Good evening and welcome to the Zen Technologies Combat Training Center, your one-stop answer to all the training challenges faced by the armed forces today. Zen Technologies is the leading supplier of realistic combat training solutions to the Indian Armed Forces and is also in the forefront of providing efficient training infrastructure to foreign armies and all the Indian armed constabularies. Before I take you around the different products which are displayed here, I'd like to give you a quick...
Can you put it on full screen?
Oh, this one, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Quick introduction to our facility where I am standing right now.
I'm not able to expand.
So this is the Zen Technologies production and demonstration area facility located at Maheshwaram,
I'm sorry, not able to expand it for some.
From the Hyderabad International Airport. Built over 8 acres of land at a cost of over 150 crore rupees. This facility houses all the products which have been designed and developed by Zen Technologies over the span of the last 28 years. This is also the location where the production of the various products takes place and where we are able to demonstrate our equipment which we have made over these last 28 years. I shall now be starting with our first product which is behind me, and that is the containerized tubular shooting range. The containerized tubular shooting range is a live firing facility which is built into a standard 40 feet shipping container for easy portability. It is a plug and play device and can be taken to the point of need. All the ammunition of the small arms which are used by the Indian Armed Forces and the police forces up to the caliber of 7.62 mm as well as 9 mm ball can be fired in this range. The only exception we have to take care is not to fire the armor piercing and the incendiary ammunition such as the tracer. This provides for 2 firers to fire simultaneously. We have the 2 firing positions. As I mentioned, all the weapons up to 7.62 mm and 9 mm ball can be utilized here. The targets are projected on a self-sealing rubber membrane which is at the end of this tubular structure which you see. The result of the firing is displayed on the firing point equipment which is located to the left of the firer. The targets which are projected on the self-sealing rubber membrane can be depicted at a range of 10 meters to 300 meters. The selection of the range of the target, the type of target, the terrain in which the target has to fire, the kind of ammunition and the weapon to be used can be done from the firing point equipment or from the instructor station. The system caters for the ballistics of the ammunition which is being fired, and the result which is displayed on the firing point equipment is after the due calculations and calibration is carried out. In this manner, we get an absolute accurate result at even longer ranges of up to 300 meters. So here you are seeing the different kind of terrain which can be utilized and the different kinds of targets. in this particular range, the firers can fire in 3 positions, which is standing, kneeling, and lying position. The system comes with a ventilation system which meets the requirements of the National Institute of Industrial Safety and Health. And once you close the doors of the system, you are able to ensure that the minimum of acoustic signature is there outside. This implies that this system can be utilized even in the most dense urban environment. At the other end, at the target end, we have what we call a bullet containment trap, which contains the bullet which is fired, and how it acts I shall be showing you with the help of an animation. So here you can see the manner in which the firer will engage the target. Once the target is engaged, the bullet goes through the self-sealing rubber membrane and enters the bullet containment trap, which is behind the self-sealing membrane. So here is a top view of the bullet containment trap. We have the bullet is directed into the cylindrical portion where the heavy AR-500 plates are there, and the bullet is broken into small pieces and it drops into the lead collection tray at the bottom. Controlling all this is the instructor station. The instructor can have a view of both the firers, and he can set the different exercises which are required for the firers. All the standard exercises and firing practices which are fired by the different weapons of the Indian Armed Forces and the police forces are pre-fed into this. So he has to only select the kind of practice, and the result is computed by the system based on the standards which are required. And that result is displayed. An after action report is displayed on the screen, and if required, a copy can be taken out for the information of the firer. So here is an image of an after action report. Now this was a basic firing range. Once the trainees have reached an advanced level of training, we have an advanced firing range called the Containerized Indoor Shooting Range. I shall now be taking you to the Containerized Indoor Shooting Range, which, like in the case of the Containerized Tubular Shooting Range, also caters for 2 firers. So here we have the Containerized Indoor Shooting Range. The instructor station in this case is located inside the container, and there are 2 lanes which are there in this. 2 firers can fire simultaneously onto a target which is depicted on a complete screen at the end. So the container has anti-ricochet walls on the sides, and live firing can take place inside this container. The major advantage of this particular containerized indoor shooting range is that you have both options of carrying out live firing as well as virtual firing with the help of the laser units. So based on the kind of practice, the result is displayed on the screen and is also noted in the software which is with the instructor. I shall be explaining more about the different kind of practices which can be carried out inside the containerized indoor shooting range when I am explaining the advanced weapon simulator, which is a purely virtual simulator. The same features which are there in the CISR or the containerized indoor shooting range are there in the advanced weapon simulator. However, since there are 4 lanes there, it will be more apt to describe those features at the OSIM. Next, we have our driving training simulators. Some common features of all our driving training simulators. We have a full replica of the actual controls of the vehicle in a cabin which is mounted on top of a 6-dimensional motion platform. A word about the motion platform. Zen Technologies has got the worldwide patent for this motion platform and has received an award from the late President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam for this very product. We have all the different scenarios, all the different road conditions, weather conditions, terrain conditions, etc., which are projected onto a screen to depict the different kind of terrain in which a driver is expected to drive his vehicle. And also in the different type of climatic conditions he is expected to drive the vehicle. All of this is controlled by an instructor station where the exercise for the driver can be planned and the result of the expertise achieved by the driver is recorded, and also message is given to the instructor as to the various faults which the driver may be having in this exercise. So this was a normal vehicle driving simulator. We also have the simulators, driving simulators for the different military vehicles. Here we have Infantry Combat Vehicle Simulator, driving simulator for the BMP-2. As you can see, the exact replica of the driver cabin of a BMP-2 is replicated here, and the driver is able to drive the vehicle exactly in the manner as he would be driving an actual vehicle. We have the same motion platform, the instructor station, and the complete scenario on which the driver is driving is depicted on the screens. Next, we have the integrated missile simulator, which is meant for the BMP-2 again. In this, we have the exact replica of the turret of a BMP-2 infantry combat vehicle, and all the different weapon systems which are loaded into it can be fired. Namely, the missile, Concourse missile, the 30 mm cannon, and the coaxial 7.62 mm PKT gun, machine gun. So the commander and the gunner both get the option of carrying out exact firing onto a virtual terrain. Next, we have the latest products from Zen Technologies, which is the Integrated Air Defense Combat Simulator, or IADCS. We have two different IADCS. What you see on the screen right now is the ZU-23, and with a simple curved screen on which the target is projected, and The second model is the L70 gun, on which the target is projected on a dome screen. So this is what is going to be demonstrated. The important aspect here is the weapon systems are exact replicas of the actual weapon system, and on firing, the same recoil effect and sound effect is catered for the training. Next, I shall be showing you our tank simulators. So the exact method has to be followed. We have an instructor station where you have the instructor's view, the driver's view, the terrain on which he's supposed to train, as well as the methodology he's following in using the different controls in the tank. These systems are already held with all the armored regiments of the Indian Armored Corps and has been found to be extremely effective in training the crews of the tanks. Now I'm standing in front of the T90 crew gunnery simulator. Again, we have a cabin which you can see mounted on a motion platform. Inside the cabin is an exact replica of the interior of the turret of a T90 tank, in which the commander and the gunner sit and they carry out all the drills to engage enemy targets. All the different kind of ammunition which is fired by the tank can be fired here. The exact same procedure has to be followed, which includes the auto loading, the semi-automatic loading, as well as the manual loading and the firing, selection of ammunition, etc. Everything has to be exactly replicated as in an actual tank. Then the tank fires, the recoil as in the actual tank is also depicted thanks to the motion platform. We have an instructor station where he has the view of the tank and the side picture of the gunner's sight as well as the commander's sight. We have the different kind of sights, the day sights, the night sights, the IR thermal sights. All of them are fitted into this particular system. Next, we have all the infantry simulators. We'll start with a battalion support weapon, which is the anti-tank guided missile. What you see here is an Atgm simulator. The Atgm simulator is for a Milan and Conquest missile. It is for a second generation missile, which is wire guided and has to be guided till the time the missile strikes the target. What you see on the screen is the exact same view which the missile pilot is seeing through the eyepiece of the missile sight. So this was a Milan / Conquest missile launcher. And now we have the medium machine gun simulator. I'd like to point out that the medium machine gun which you are seeing is again a total replica of the actual weapon. And the medium machine gun fires the virtual ammunition onto the enemy target. The medium machine gun is a long-range weapon with a range of 1800 meters. It is not possible for an infantry battalion to get a range of this kind at a short notice. It is only during field firing that they are able to carry out firing, and therefore the medium machine gun simulator is the right solution for training of all their MMG crews. So the medium machine gun is what is termed as a company support weapon of an infantry battalion. Next, we have the various small arms which are available in an infantry company. I'd like to start by explaining about this weapon which I'm holding. So what I have in my hand is a full replica of an actual weapon, and this is designed to fire the laser unit, the laser onto the screen. This is exactly the same in weight and feel as the actual weapon. However, it is not essential to use this weapon to fire on this particular simulator, which is called the Advanced Weapon Simulator, or OSIP. If you have a service weapon, you can use the service weapon also to fire. All you need to do is attach this integrated laser unit which is in front, and change the working parts, which is basically the breech block, and thereafter you can use this blue colored magazine which is filled with compressed air or CO2. So with this particular magazine, you are able to fire and get the exact recoil effect of firing an actual weapon. And you can fire automatic as well. So this is a replica weapon made by Zen Technologies. We have the target which is depicted on a screen. The Advanced Weapon Simulator caters for 4 lanes to 10 lanes. What we have in front of you is a 4-lane version. As I mentioned when I was explaining the containerized indoor shooting range, all the features which are there in the Advanced Weapon Simulator are there in the containerized indoor shooting range. The important difference is that in the containerized indoor shooting range, you can fire live ammunition as well. And here you can only fire virtual ammunition. So we will quickly see how a practice takes place on the target. So you see the target, 4 lanes are depicted. Each weapon is assigned to a lane, and the different kind of practices as are used by the armed forces are fed, and the selection of the practice is done. So now the firing is 5-round grouping fire. So at the end of this exercise, you will see that the system will be able to give you the result. So the result will be shown on the screen. The different kind of faults have been identified by the system itself, and the corrective measure is also given. In addition, the three most important elements of firing, which is holding, aiming, and trigger operation, are also analyzed. So here we have what is called the HAT analysis, or the holding, aiming, and trigger operation analysis. So with this, all the tools are given to the instructor. To ensure that he is able to provide the best possible instruction to the students. Which are there under him, to the trainees under him. So this is the manner in which the advanced weapons simulator is functioning. The range which is depicted on the screen varies from 10 meters to 2,200 meters. All four lanes can be at a different range. I beg your pardon. So we can go up to 2,000 meters, and all the small arms which are available in a infantry battalion can be used here, as well as the sniper rifle. Now this was a standard range. So the first kind of firing which can take place are all the practices which are fired on a range. We have all the different terrain conditions, the day and night conditions, the weather conditions. Everything is fed into the system, and based on the types of targets, depending on the kind of exercise which is being planned, everything is pre-fed into the system, and the instructor selects the practice based on the training requirement of the day. Now, in addition to the range, we have two more systems inside the OSIM. We have the scenario and the video. I shall now be showing you these one by one.
Scenario.
Now, while in a range, each weapon is assigned to a lane and a supposed lane, but the entire screen they can fire anywhere and the recording is done. So here we have a scenario which is showing troops in ambush waiting a patrol which is coming. So the target is an enemy patrol. The aim is to see how the trainees are able to ensure that they wait and open fire at the right time, because if they fire too early, the patrol will run away. If they fire too late, many will get away or they'll be prepared. So you have to wait for the entire patrol to get into the killing zone before you open fire. So at the end of the exercise, the result of the entire team is given out, and then lane-wise results are also given out. So you get the kind of number of enemies which were depicted and how many were injured and how many were killed. So every detail will be given in this, and a score is given for each firer, and a score is given to the team of 4 which is engaged in this particular exercise. So similarly, we have videos which test the judgmental skills of the firers. These videos can be created by the user himself. So I'll be showing you a single video in which the firer is supposed to identify the time when the threat manifests itself. If he opens fire early, that means he is injuring or firing at an innocent person. If he opens fire too late, then the person will react and injure him instead. So this was the video in which the judgmental skills are checked. So similarly, we have the result. In all the virtual simulators, we have a very detailed after-action report based on the requirement of the user. It is modifiable and it can be tailor-made to suit the requirement of the user based on the kind of operations they are involved. So next I shall be taking you to yet another company support weapon, which is the advanced grenade launcher, automatic grenade launcher. Again, we have a full replica of the AGL out here. The grenade stays inside, and then at the end of the practice, we can do a zoom replay and see how the grenades landed on the target. So here is the target. So this gives out the result of this particular firing. So the target was a trench system which has been engaged effectively. Next we have another battalion support weapon, which is the 81mm mortar. The 81mm mortar is also known as the battalion commander's Top Khana, and it involves the training of the entire crew. The target area is not seen by the crew at the weapon end because they are around 5 kilometers away. So they have a mortar fire controller who will be an observer who's in front observing the target. He will give his observation to the mortar point commander who will do the calculation of the azimuth and the elevation and pass it to the mortar, which will fire the bomb. And the result is seen by the MFC, who gives the necessary correction till such time the target is engaged. So we will see one example of this particular drill.
Target. North Romeo 466-614. Oscar triangle 12 degree. Height 200 meters. North Romeo 466-614. Oscar triangle 0 degree. Height 200. Model length 10. One round 5. 180 on 5. Round 100. Round 100. Five. 80 on 5.
You can see the ball landing next to the target, and in this manner the target is engaged. Next we have our UAV simulator. This is for a Heron 2. We have the virtual UAV flying over a virtual terrain, and the complete crew, the payload operators and the commander and the pilot, can operate it from this particular set of controls which you can see. So this is a UAV simulator. Next we have the Iglon missile simulator, which is an anti-aircraft air defense simulator. This is a missile which is man-pack and is used to engage enemy aircraft. So we will see how a trainee can practice by engaging the aircraft which is on his screen. So this was an Iglon missile simulator. Next I shall be showing you what we call live simulation of force on force simulation. So in this case we have the soldiers pitted against each other, each equipped with some equipment which gives them the wherewithal of using the natural terrain which is available outside and engaging each other in a typical tactical military operation. So each soldier is given a harness. In the harness we have sensors, we have a health indicator. When this soldier is fired at, the result of that firing, whether it's an injury or whether it's a kill shot, is given on this. We have a light which indicates that he has been hit. We have a GPS, a communication, a battery pack, and a speaker to give the sound. This harness will be linked to the weapon, which is similar to the weapon used in the AWESOM. It can either be a replica weapon or a service weapon with the ILU using blank rounds, or a service weapon using ILU and replacing the working parts and using the same blue magazine which I spoke about earlier. So this is the kit. Now we shall see what happens to this particular trainee when he is fired at by another trainee. So moment he is fired at, this light will start indicating and the result of the firing will be given here. It is reading killed from the front. So this is how it is, the game is played, and we have every activity which is carried out in this exercise is recorded in what we call the exercise control or XCON. So the XCON has got a map view. In the map, we are able to follow the exact action of both the red land and the blue land soldiers. And we are also keeping a track of every activity which has taken place, who has fired on whom and what has been the result. So that complete activity or event log is maintained on this screen. This particular exercise control can also be at a small level in the form of a tough pad for smaller exercises. Otherwise, the main exercise can control up to 5,000 soldiers at one go. What we have here is the armor combat training system. This is the laser unit which is put in tanks, and these are the sensors. The tanks can also be incorporated into the exercise by using this ACTS. All the different company support weapons and the battalion support weapons which I spoke about are all part of this tactical engagement simulator which I have just shown. It is called TACSIM. Next we have the shoot house. The shoot house is again a live firing range for practicing fighting in built-up area, room clearance drill and hostage rescue. You can see in the video how the people can use this to engage and fire. This particular firing range is made up of these panels. Each of these panels are joined together like a Lego set to form a house in the shape which is designed by the user. So we can keep changing the shape of the accommodation. What we have for the demonstration is a corridor with 2 rooms on the side. So let us see how the targets are laid inside these rooms. So when you enter this room, so we have a pop-up target and we are able to engage. The walls which you see here, we have a rubber tile followed by a wooden frame followed by the AR500 plate. So these rubber tiles ensure that there is no danger of ricochet. And each tile, which is around 18 inches by 18 inches, can take up to 500 rounds. However, where the rounds are fired at the target area, we call it the hot area, and we have thicker tiles which can take up to 5,000 rounds. So any amount of training can be carried out in this particular shoot house. And this is all live firing, mind you. Next, we have an operational equipment which is to be used. Then you have to engage the enemy without exposing yourself around the corner. For example, the corner of a building. So we have this shootage in which the weapon is mounted on the swinging arm, which is in front and which can swing 65 degrees on either side. So to make it easy for the firer to aim, we have provided it with a laser aimer mark. We have a torch, and for night, we have a night vision device also fitted, which you can see from here on the screen, which is being seen by the firer. So this is the shootage. Next, we have our smart target system. The smart target system is meant for the actual open ranges. So this is when you go out for firing on the range. The big problem faced by the units which are firing is after each detail fires, they have to go, repair the target and count the score, and then the next will fire. However, with the smart target system, we have done away with that requirement. These targets are fitted on a frame. The frame has acoustic sensors which pick up the exact location of each round which is fired, irrespective of the number of holes which may be there caused by the previous rounds. So even up to 2,000 rounds may be fired, but the next round exact location where it is going through this target will be known by the acoustic sensors. As long as you have the aiming mark available to the firer, you are able to utilize this target, and experience has said that it can go up to 2,000 rounds. So in real time, moment the round is fired, the sensors pick it up, and they give it to the firing point equipment, which is next to the firer. The result is depicted on the firing point equipment, and the firer can check his result immediately for each round he fires. And in this manner, he is able to have better confidence in himself and his weapon. All of this is controlled by a control station, which has the capability of controlling up to 255 such smart target systems at a time. The smart target system is a pop-up target, as you can see. And we have the control station on the side. In addition to this, we have the multifunctional target system, and we have a number of tank targets which are meant for live firing on the open ranges. The multifunctional target system is again for infantry, which is used for moving targets, and it also twists and turns. So let us see if we can, you can have a view. This is the MFTS. Right. Now all these simulators which you have seen can be joined together in what we call the Combat Training Center. So this particular location, we call it the Combat Training Center. The reason we call it the Combat Training Center is that we are able to integrate all the simulators which are available here onto one common platform. That means all of them are firing in the same tactical setting. We can have the tank which you saw as part of the driving simulator and the crew gunnery simulator operating against the anti-tank guided missile simulator, so they can be pitted against each other. We can have artificial intelligence enemy and also have the actual people on simulators carrying out operations against each other. So you can see here, we have in the center, on the top, you can see the center view, which is of the map as to how the red land and blue land forces are progressing. So this was the CTC, which is a combination of all the simulators which are available. Now, in addition to all these simulators, we have one more operational equipment, which is the Zen Anti-Drone System. So the Zen Anti-Drone System, which is currently deployed in a different station, so I will have to explain with the help of a video which we have taken. It works on RF detection. So the drone which is incoming, once it comes into the area of influence of this system, it will be picked up by the RF detection system, which you can see is the helmet-shaped antenna which is in the center. Once it is picked up, the view of the control station, which is inside the vehicle, is shown, and after being picked up, the system directs the camera, which is mounted on the leftmost antenna, to go and pick up the drone and take a picture and identify whether it's a friend or foe. So here we can see the single view of the but is being seen through the RF detector, and we also have the camera view. So once the drone has been identified as a foe, then the jamming antennas come into action. We have two jammers. One jammer is only directional, which is the rightmost one, and the one which you see rotating is a directional jammer which directs its pulses against the drone. So the drone's connection with the handler is lost, and the handler, as you can see, is unable to control the drone. Now when this happens, the drone will either go back to where it started, or it will go down to ground at that spot. To prevent it from going back, we also have a system of spoofing the GPS signal, because they use the GPS to go back, which confuses the drone, and that drone will therefore land. So this is the Zen Anti-Drone System, which has been in the news of late. With this, I come to the end of my presentation today. Should there be any questions, I will be very pleased to take them on.
Yeah, I think we are done with the presentation. Abhishek, you can take over. Abhishek, Sayam, Divakarji.
I'm here, sir. So
yeah, good. So the presentation is over. If there are any question and answer, I'm open for that.
No worries at all. I think we are kind of 15 minutes beyond the time, but if there are any specific, if there are any
Svecha has again raised their hand. I think I see that.
Okay. Maybe we'll take a couple of last questions. I know about. There is one from Ashit Koti. Do you want to go ahead, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I just wanted to understand, in 2020, the warrants were converted into shares. Around 23, like 50,000 warrants. At what price the shares were converted?
76 rupees.
76 rupees.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is going to be our capital requirements down the line for next 2 years to 3 years?
So we are assessing that, Ashit, and we should be letting you know in maybe a month or within a month or so if there are any additional requirements or not.
Normally, in like on a 255 crore of orders, what kind of
No, for this 255 crores, we don't need anything. For executing this thing, we don't need any working capital or anything. That we are self-sufficient for that. So, but if for the our aggressive marketing plans and any other aggressive investment in R&D or IP, we may be requiring some funds. But for executing this order, we don't need any funds at all.
Okay. And I was just going through your presentations and everything. Something which just struck my mind was major problems which are being faced by ground forces all over the world is the mines.
Okay.
And have you developed any kind of technology which without going on the field, you are able to identify the mines in the area, so that when the forces are crossing the borders or going ahead, those mines are taken care of?
Yes. So there, what we have to do is we have to detect the mine. So some kind of a drone with lidar-based technology is being explored at this point in time. So this threat will be minimized as we go forward.
Because that this has become a problem for our forces in J&K, Jammu and Kashmir area, in a big way. And apart from that, even Naxalite activities in within India.
Yeah, so the drones will be used in these areas. I strongly feel, Ashit, and we hope to overcome both the threats. It's not only for landmines, even in forest with heavy foliage, they're not able to see people. So how do we penetrate the foliage and detect the movement there? These are all the questions that are bothering, and our R&D team is currently preoccupied with. So they will be resolved. I'm very sure about that.
Okay. Can we assume that, sir, going down the line for next 2 to 3 years, our order positioning would be always in the range of order pipeline would be always in the range of 300 to 500 crores minimum?
Yeah, that's our hope. Absolutely, Ashit. It should be much higher than that, but yeah, it should always be at that 500 range is our expectation.
And whichever one of our subsidiaries making loss?
I mean the
consolidated figures.
I mean the US companies making. I mean they have not made any sale. Even UAE has not made any sale. But these are again, when we talk about R&D of the products, R&D of the market also takes some time to yield results. So they will yield results. I'm very positive about that. As I said, UAE we are almost in something in a touching distance, but except for the slip between the cup and the lip, we should be hearing some good news from them. So subsidiaries are not making any money at this point in time, but the whole point is the defense market is a long gestation market, and we are seeing the things moving in the right direction at all our subsidiaries.
And have we gone in for any kind of trying to capture the market of Saudi Arabia, where they have been facing threats every now and then on their refineries? So protecting those refineries from drones, as well as in whichever other way, other systems which can kind of, safeguard the refineries out there.
Yeah, we have informed them about what the options that are available with us, and so we don't know whether they will go for our systems or they may go for some because Americans have deep inroads there. So we are not very sure, but we have informed to the government that we have this solution. So let us see what happens.
Now, same solutions can be utilized by Indian refiners also.
Absolutely, yeah. We are talking to someone.
Okay, sir. Fine. Yeah. Thanks.
We'll take the next question from the line of Manoj Shah.
Abhishek, you've unmuted me, so I don't know.
Sorry for that. Mr. Atluri, can you stop sharing the screen, please?
Oh, did I not show? Oh, the screen going on. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Manoj Shah, I think your line is unmuted. You can please, you can speak, but you can go ahead and ask your question, please.
In one of the business channels, Mr. Atluri, I heard that you are targeting a revenue of around 550 crores over the next 2-3 years. And then in that you are saying that 270 crores of revenues is expected in FY22, 120 crores of simulator order, and 155 crore of this Indian Air Force anti-drone order you will be executing over the next 12 months. So for next 2 years, that is FY23 and 24, are we expecting to execute only 270 crores of orders? Based on the current orders in hand?
Yeah, so this was a statement that we made last year during the AGM or something like that, where we said, 550 crores will be done. So a lot of people are asking, are you still sticking to that? We said it's an easy target to reach now. After that, so we are not. We do expect that we'll exceed the target, and it 270 crores in the next 4 quarters. I think in the quarters are almost 7 quarters will be there after that. So I think we should be doing much more than that.
So we can expect much higher than this 550
Absolutely.
crores.
Yeah, that's our expectation. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And I just wanted to check. I saw the video, like this anti-drone system. Like when this is detected and it is jammed, does your system allow the weapon in the ground forces to pass on the coordinate of the drone system so that they can fire it from their weapon and bring it down, or just the
So,
jamming?
so it's
jamming
much
will do
easier. It is much easier to automate that process. So we are planning to automate the process.
So your system will be able to coordinate with the defense
Absolutely.
system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Raghuvinder. Raghuvinder, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Good evening, sir. One quick question is, are you planning to onboard any strategic or VC investor which will give confidence to market, or any technical foreign partner, or are you open for being acquired by a major defense player like L&T or a foreign player?
I mean, we would definitely appreciate, some kind of a collaboration with L&T or some big companies interested in investing us. We are definitely open as long as they are consistent with our philosophy. There's no problem on that. Absolutely.
And how about a strategic investor like Junjunwala or somebody who can give confidence to market?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Junjunwala ji would be, Rakesh Bhai would be absolutely a great investor to have. Yeah, so we definitely, we are open to any investment from such kind of, strong investor. Absolutely. Yeah. We would look forward if Rakesh Bhai can come back again into Zen. Any other question?
Raghuvinder, I think that's it from his end.
Abhishek, can you go to the next one? Ask the next person to come in.
Yes, sir. We'll take one last question from the line of Mr. Ashit. Ashit.
Svecha is there, I think. Svecha, you are actively avoiding her.
I'll take the last question from the line of Svecha. Svecha, you may please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So I just have two small clarifications. One was from the order book. So the 160 crore order book on the domestic side is from IAF, which we are planning to execute in 12 months. And also on the export side, the order book of 125 crores, that is also we are planning to execute within 12 months, right? So I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Okay. So how would the revenue flow? I mean, how would the revenue booking of this order happen? It's going to be a lumpy kind of a revenue booking directly after we deliver everything, or it's like a part?
I think there may be some spread, but it will be towards this, the last 2 quarters. Yeah.
Last 2 quarters. Okay.
I think, yeah, that's right.
Okay. And so just second question, which I wanted to clarify. I think in one of the participants' question, you were addressing that we don't have any active order book right now, active bid book right now. But you're also saying that we are in discussion of 500 crores of order on the domestic and the 400 crores kind of on the export side. So can we expect that, new biddings are going to happen soon? Or these are some other potential customers that we are targeting?
So, these the thing about these orders that we are expecting are, they're almost like repeat orders. So they may be, they will issue because, they already have some systems with the armed forces and they want to buy some more of them. So it is typically, when they open up, they'll say, okay, here is the tender, please respond to it on a single vendor basis.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
That's it. Thank you, Abhishek. Thanks, sir.
Guys, Abhishek, are we done?
I think there's one last participant, Yash Verma. Yash, the line is unmuted. You can please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity. So, sir, I have a just basic housekeeping question. So, when you talk about these centers, so are the personals visiting these centers for training themselves, or these centers are installed by you as an EPC contract for the defense?
So, we don't do the civil works for them. At least most of them, even if they get as a part of the contract, we give it to someone else. What we do is we supply training equipment to them, simulators or live training equipment. We give it to them, train their trainers, whoever the instructor is, and then we leave. Only we come back when the system needs some maintenance. After that, the instructor takes over and trains the their own soldiers or the police personnel. So we sell the equipment, train the guy, and that's what we do.
So then the market becomes limited to the capital expenditure by defense when the personnel there is already trained, the installation is already done, so it becomes a capital expenditure. Then there will only be a form of revenue expenditure if there is any further modification improvements required.
No, the revenues will be through annual maintenance contracts for maintaining the equipment.
Sure, got it. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I believe that was the last question for the day. On behalf of Zen Technologies Limited, we would like to conclude this Investor Day. Thank you all for joining us today. In case you have any unanswered queries, please feel free to reach out to either me or Mr. Divakar Pingle at the email IDs mentioned at the end of the invite. Once again, thanking you all.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Divakar ji, Abhishek, Sayam. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
You, investors. I really appreciate you interacting with Zen Technologies. Take care. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.